is completely illegitimate and contrary to liberty.
Do you think that feminism was kind of created or facilitated by the government to break up the family?
I believe that was, so I'm sure by some, it may have been a desired effect, and that they may have been one of the reasons that they pushed it so hard. I think it's just more so to do just pushing this mindset of egalitarianism, leftism, equality, forced equality, and just this weird egalitarian universalist mindset that leads so many people to value authoritarianism in pursuit of these moralist, weird viewpoints like feminism.
But you're not really anti-woman.
No.
You're just anti-feminism.
Yeah, I'm not anti-woman. I'm just anti the idea of believing that the socio-political and economic equality of women to men is in any way a desirable ideal.
Oh, now one more thing before we go. What would you say to Christopher Cantwell if you were to talk to him again?
If I was talking to Cantwell again, which I probably will.
Do you think, because Cantwell, he says all these hateful things, but then he'll say something, well, I don't really hate all black people. I don't really hate all Jews. But then, you know what I mean? Because he wrote an article sometime since he's been out of jail saying that he's not a Nazi.
Yeah.
And he was praising Walter Block and stuff. So, I mean, do you think if you saw Chris Cantwell, let's just say hypothetically he was here, you saw him walking out, you happen to be in the same place as him, do you think you guys would have a friendly conversation in spite of some of he hasn't made nasty comments about you personally, but, him throwing around the N-word and all that stuff. Would you be able to sit down and have a friendly conversation with him at this point? And what would you say if you saw him?
I would definitely be able to have a conversation with him. I wouldn't bar him from conversation just because other people who may look like me, who may be in my family, I'm sure my mom wouldn't get along with him, but just because some people in my close cultural contact wouldn't be able to stand what he's saying, I won't project that and just say, oh, these guys don't like you, so I won't talk to you either. I'm capable of having a good conversation with him.
I think he would be better off if you think the guy has like anger management problems.
Yeah, but it's also his shtick. It's how he makes his money. It's how he survives.
But couldn't he make money without doing some of the things he's done?
He could.
He is talented as a speaker, and I think his radio persona, minus some of the more over-the-top language he uses, he's actually a pretty good radio host. I got to give him credit. He could be like an Alex Jones or something, Yeah. He's entertaining as a host if he would just kind of clean it up,
Yeah, he could, but again, in a way he can't, because as we know, once it's out there, you can't.
I think he's going too far. Yeah, especially with Charlottesville.
Even if he wanted to, even if he had a complete 180 ideological revamping,
like he had an "I found Jesus, I'm sorry" moment.
He still wouldn't be able to pull it off. Just like it's like saying, if David Duke after the fact came back and said, I actually love black people now, would people vote for him to come in office?
But I think if Cantwell had just toned it back, he could have been successful in the libertarian sphere if he would have dialed it back.
But the thing is, I don't even know if Cantwell would have really wanted that.
Yeah.
I think Cantwell is much more happy being a relatively small, but I guess noteworthy success in the alt-right sphere.
Do you think he's still a libertarian? Or do you think he's somewhat of a libertarian? Or do you think he's not a libertarian at all anymore?
I don't think he's a libertarian. I think he still believes in fundamental libertarian principles. I definitely know he still believes in private property. I definitely know he still believes in non-aggression as a
Well, if he really does believe in the non-aggression principle, then he is a libertarian. If he actually, I don't know I don't know, but I'm just saying.
I think he's in the same boat as me, actually, in that he doesn't know if he believes in the non-aggression principle universally. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't know if he believes in using non-aggression against someone who's actively plotting to kill you in the same context as using non-aggression as someone who's just living their life.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what you mean by actively plotting to kill you. You know what I mean?
Like I'm pretty sure, like we all agree in political speech that people should be free to, think what they want. But if we have knowledge that there's a Islamic extremist down the street actively plotting a bombing of a cathedral or something, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to aggressing upon him a little bit just to find out.
Well, that gets into a dangerous territory, though, because that's the George W. Bush, preemptive war thing, and that is very dangerous.
It is, and it's kind of like that middle ground, that common ground of, if you obviously know, like if they're overtly stating it, like I am working towards your oppression, which is like kind of what communists do, then it's kind of like, they haven't aggressed upon me yet, but they are actively working towards it, and I don't know if I would levy the non-aggression principle to them as equally to someone that is peacefully living their lives and not posing any threat to me.
Well, yeah, we live in a country that's got public commons, and we're all forced to live together under the same government, and there's going to be people out there with different ideas, and we all have a right to free speech in the public commons. I think the solution is to just break the country up into private property, anarcho-capitalism. Yeah, getting rid of the commons, or kind of everybody break up, and like if you want to live in a libertarian community, then maybe we have like a big like a condo association, and the commons is only there for people who live in the condo association. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so like here at this hotel, if you're a guest of this hotel, we can walk around in the lobby, we can use the pool, we can use the whatever facilities are here, the commons. But if somebody pulls their pants down and starts urinating in the fountain, or that guy who got up and stripped his clothes off at the National Convention, I think he's here. I think I actually saw him.
Wow.
Now, if he were to come out here and rip his clothes off in the lobby and start dancing around, I think the hotel, if they so desired, would have the right to throw him out.
Yeah.
To physically remove him. But see, so I think the issue is, as long as we have this public commons and that we're all forced to live together under this government, that we're going to have to kind of agree to disagree, or get along, and there's going to be people who have different political ideas, and there's really not much we can do about it as long as we have the commons and we're all forced to live under the same government.
Thing is with the commons, because like leftists don't agree to disagree, people who believe in statism don't agree to disagree, so that's not even a viable option. So with the commons,
they really don't. You're right.
So someone like me who wants to get rid of the commons, I would just say I don't have any moral imperative to make sure that the commons is an equal place, an equal playing field.
Well, I support using the commons because libertarians need to use the commons.
I support using it, but however,
we need the commons because, like, with the ballot access laws in this country, we have to go out and collect thousands of signatures to put libertarian candidates on the ballot, and we can't do that without the commons.
Exactly. And I think the commons is a valuable means. However, I don't value universally the use of commons by like pro-liberty activists like you and I is the same as I would use of the commons by Antifa. Like granted, Antifa may be going down during the free speech, but this group that doesn't value private property, doesn't value individual liberty, using a concept that I don't even value as a legitimate thing. I don't really care if, and some people may disagree with this, but it's okay, but I don't really care if the state crashes down, as Rob Barber say, unleash the police on groups that want to oppress me.
Yeah, Hans Hermann Hoppe made a comment about that in a recent speech he gave about kind of giving the Antifa mob a bloody nose.
Yeah.
Now, I would agree with that from the extent that if the Antifa mob were out doing what they were doing, like if they were just out there protesting, I don't think they should be beaten up. I think they should be allowed to protest. But it's when they get violent, like what they did at the Milo Yiannopoulos speech in Berkeley, where they were rioting to the point that the speech had to be shut down. That would be, in my opinion, justification for giving them the bloody nose, you know? Or what they were doing, when Trump was the Trump inauguration. Now, regardless of what you think of Donald Trump, or any president for that matter, doesn't give you the right to throw a brick through the window at Starbucks or light somebody's car. Because I'm really mad that Donald Trump got nominated or won the presidential election. So this gives me the right to pick up a brick and throw it through the window at Starbucks. That's ridiculous.
And this is what Antifa. This is why I think Antifa is motivated. And this is something. It's funny. I haven't talked about this, but I've thought about it a lot. Everybody watching, this is an exclusive. But the reason that I think Antifa, and why I think like free speech advocates aren't as helpful in fighting Antifa, is because they haven't addressed the reason that Antifa is becoming so aggressive. And I think that's because Antifa has been passively rewarded